Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of East Meets West on WXCI 91.7 FM Danbury. I am Flamehawk.
Hello, I'm the Gentleman Snark, as always.
And I am DinoCon, as always, as well.
We have a lot of things to talk about, but first off, a big thanks to Mark Guggenheim. You might know him from comic books or TV shows. He was the creator of Arrow, creator of Legends of Tomorrow on CW, and he also has written the new X-Men Gold comic book series. He found our review from nerdent.net and put it on his Twitter for everyone of his followers to see. So big thank you right there.
How many hits has it gotten so far?
It's gotten a good amount. It's gotten around 30, but the big seller is Batman 20, and that is around 200. Yep. So thank you for the love.
We made it, bruz.
Let's get on the whole news thing. Spring season of anime has arrived.
It has sprung.
Yep. And already, right off the bat, we start off with some good major hitters like Attack on Titan.
Literally
Boruto.
hitters.
And Boku no Hero. And Darned Girls of Machiavellianism.
It was such a weird title. How do you even say Machiavellianism in Japanese? Machiavellianism
I don't know, probably something like that.
is like manipulating politicians a focal point of the show.
Unfortunately, it's not that creative, sadly. If you want to know more in depth, be sure to check out my review on that, which is on our website. Once again, that's nerdent.net. But basically the whole episode one, only one episode has been out, and that came out on April 5th. A transfer student got into a big fight in his old school, got kicked out, and now he got transferred to what used to be an all-girls school. Many of you veteran anime watchers should already know where this is going to go, but to go more in depth here, basically, the main point of the school is that the women run everything, and all the guys are usually troubled youths that have to face some kind of rehabilitation, which usually involves the guys having to cross-dress and live as females.
Oh no.
We've all been there, though. I mean, I've been there. Sorry, is that
and,
too much?
And I feel so much better about my life, and so should you, folks. So, back on the episode, our main protagonist, Nomura Fudo, is, and stop me if you heard this before, he's a transfer student going to what used to be an all-girls school, and there's going to be a whole bunch of female bosses that he has to get through in order to live a nice, free, and easy life. Shonen harem everywhere!
Yikes. I'm not gonna lie. When you said it used to be an all-girls school, I was worried for a second. Either it's gonna be co-ed or the girls aren't girls anymore. But no, apparently the guys have to do. It's like what was that movie? Sorority Boys, starring the guy who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. Rosenbaum, Michael Rosenbaum, or something like that.
I believe so. I'm not exactly sure.
I do not know.
Yeah, it's like this is, I must say, like, one of the most frustrating cliches in anime is not just the idea of, oh, I have this harem of girls, but it's like, oh, in order to get close to them, like, in order to obtain the girls, you must become the girl.
Well, they do a bit of subverted with that trope, because instead of our main protagonist fitting in, trying to basically cross-dress to, rehabilitate himself and get closer to the girls, he does the complete opposite, thus leading into him getting into fights with the girls, because this is also a martial arts. There's also martial arts in this, because why not?
Oh, so it's like, what is it? Tenjo Tenge, that really, really old one?
Possibly, yeah, except our main character is too good to use swords. He just uses, blade-resistant gloves, and has a special fighting style, which he can use a special bit of power, just, like, from any part of his body. Like, he can put your hand on you and then just thrust all of his power into you. And I know that does not sound good when explained out loud on paper, but you gotta see it for yourself to understand. But yeah, that's the series. I liked the series when it was a manga. I liked the premise of it, but seeing it in the anime form kind of made me really see some of the glaring flaws of it. I will still continue to watch it cautiously. Hopefully, I'll give it 2 more episodes to really give me an impact here. But
Now,
it
speaking of
might
impact
turn to
and
a.
thrusting,
Oh God.
Boruto.
Boruto. What?
Yeah.
Naruto?
We have Boruto, and he is basically, he doesn't have the same dreams as his father. He just wants to be free, have the normal childhood life, basically. And if you've known the Boruto movie and all the other Naruto and Boruto manga series, you know their relationship isn't strong, and they're continuing that. However, they are going into the academy, something we haven't seen a full amount into the Naruto series.
Quick question. Is he called Boruto because this too has lots of filler episodes?
Not yet.
Yeah,
Let's give it hope.
Not yet. I mean, recently I heard that the manga for Boruto has just now got out of movie territory because they're basically taking a page out of Dragon Ball Super, and they're gonna kind of have episodes of just rehashing of the movie of Boruto. So, but I just realized, good news though, in the manga, they just recently got out of that type of hell, and they're now doing new stuff. They recently in the manga got out of the whole episodic retelling of the movie of Boruto, and now they're moving on to new stuff. Some people are calling it the Zabuza arc of Boruto. Though, unfortunately for you anime viewers, you have to sit through all of that, rehash of what most people should already know by now. Any Naruto fans at least.
Well, the Zabuza arc was actually my favorite arc of the original Naruto, so it was kind of so you can imagine how frustrating it was, considering how it was like the first arc after they graduated ninja school. Now, another thing that I wanted to ask about Boruto, because I haven't seen it yet, is when you say that his relationship with Naruto, his dad, is not that great. What is some of the tension?
Basically,
it's basically the father who works too much and doesn't have enough time to really spend with his family. That's basically it in a nutshell.
though it can be argued that Boruto's being a bit of a spoiled brat because Naruto has tried to spend more time with Boruto by leaving behind shadow clones and all that kind of stuff. So,
Clever.
yes, while I do understand why Boruto can be a bit stressed by not having his dad physically there, it's not really so much of Naruto's fault because it does show that he is willing to try. It's just that Boruto's not really willing to meet him halfway, in a sense.
I just don't think they understand what their parents really went through. They went through a lot, and this generation for Boruto and Naruto is really different. It's got no enemies compared to everyone just trying to attack them all at the same time in the old series.
Yet.
Because we all know if nothing happens, it's going to be a very, very, very short series. Also, since we didn't see a lot of the old characters' children and them introducing new characters, like the person I forgot his name because he was not really that important.
Wow, that narrows it down.
Exactly. Basically, we can tell we're in the long run for this, since if we had gotten the characters that were from the old series children, it would be a much easier story building compared to one that's going to be drawn out through a few episodes, made into a few arcs, and then you add countless filler, as Naruto does.
Well, they might to end up leaving with a whole bunch of filler anyways, because the Boruto manga is a monthly series, I believe, because I have not seen weekly releases of it, so that means Studio Period, as usual, are going to have to do their fillers, so hooray. I hope all you Boruto or / Naruto fans are looking forward to that, because I look forward to laughing at your complaints.
Also, let's go to Attack on Titan.
Yes, Attack on Titan. Well, I will give it this.
They need to stop monkeying around with this show.
The visuals were nice.
I would say that the situation is getting really hairy.
Well,
One could say it's going bananas.
the Titans just scream, "Notice me."
Now, of course, if you couldn't guess by those awful, awful, awful puns I was making, we have been introduced to the Ape Titan, the one that not only walks but also talks. And he has this magical ability to, boop, poke people, and they become the Titans as well. Now, if I remember correctly, they haven't really gone into that too much in the manga as to who this Titan is and how he manages to do that. But what are your guys' speculations?
Well, I have actually read some of the manga. While I won't spoil anything, I will definitely not spoil the fact that the Ape Titan gets royally owned by, a certain commander. I will not. I won't say that.
I like my jeans, though. I do like my Levi jeans.
Yes, definitely like those Levi jeans. But more onto the episode itself here. I do find it interesting that in the episode 1, they did give a lot of foreshadowing as to what to possibly expect this season and probably many seasons going forward. Since, unfortunately for you Attack on Titan fans, this is only going to be a 12-episode season.
And then you have to wait 2 more years for another 12 episodes. Aren't you happy?
This is worse than the mid-season finales that all of the TV shows over here do, where it's only okay, 6 episodes. Now you have to wait another year. It's well, why didn't you just say that this is the length of the season? Say, okay, season 2 is 12 episodes, season 3 is 12 episodes, but it just, that way we actually feel a little bit more, or rather less frustrated for having to wait so long.
Also, how they're cutting a certain superhero series from 16 episodes down to 8. Hi, Defenders.
Aww.
Now, speaking of superheroes, your favorite series, Boku no Hero.
Yes, okay. Now, this was a good series that I was very much looking forward to. Now, Boruto, say what you want about that. Attack on Titan, I personally think it's overrated, but there's no denying the popularity that it has. And the animation, I will have given several times, looks phenomenal. But Boku no Hero is one of the main shows that I was really looking forward to. Season 2, I have to say, so far, the work has been shown that they're really trying to surpass Season 1. From the opening to the ending, they are really showing that they're trying to surpass all their progress from Season 1 and then some. So good on them for that here. I will say that within the episode, by the way, I did do a review for the full review for episode 1, which you can also look on our website, nerdent.net. I'm going to be doing a lot of shameless plugs, deal with it. Basically, I found it interesting that, one, they did stuff a little bit early than from in the manga, because they've already revealed All Might's real name within the first episode, within a letter, and they also revealed All Might's one of All Might's teachers from back in the day, which doesn't happen till much later, till after the whole sports festival arc that is apparently the incoming arc for the students here. So I find it interesting that they're doing things so soon, but I like how they're setting up a lot of foreshadowing to get people hooked and want to know more questions, who's this guy in the small short old guy, this Yoda guy with the yellow suit, what can he do, how does he know All Might? I really like how they're trying to set up interest into the show. So while it was a bit early than usual, I do appreciate the sense of, I guess, style or storytelling they're going for to really just garner hype.
Now, do you feel that if they move too fast, they might run into some stuff that's not totally canon?
Well, I don't believe so, because I've heard that this is going to get a 26 episodes for this season, so they have plenty of time to do proper pacing and all of that kind of stuff. So they should give a proper length amount of time for the whole sports festival arc. But to be truthfully honest, the real arc that I really want to see, that they should probably show in this season, because they did hype it up towards the end of season 1, is that we get to see a certain villain's arc come into this. And if you don't know who that villain is, I will give you a hint and say that there is a gigantic stain on the carpet. That's all the hint you get. Anyone who's smart, anyone who actually has read the manga should know immediately who I'm talking about. But I want to see the face-off between that villain and all of the young heroes, because in the manga I thought it was a very hype fight scene that happened, and I can't wait to see that animated. I really hope they do it justice. But Studio Bones seems to have been doing very well in terms of animating Boku no Hero, so I do have some faith in them that they're able to do this and execute this well. But overall, I do think the 26 episode they're giving will give it proper pacing to slowly build up things. Not too slow, but not too fast either, where we get to probably filler territory. The most I can probably expect is that they had an episode 0, which was a recap of season 1. So they might do maybe a special ending OVA type of special last ending filler episode to probably show the aftermath of whatever may happen in the last real finale of the season. So I do expect that. But other than that, I don't think this season's going to turn out too terribly, knock on wood.
Well, I have a feeling that that Boku no Hero, if the first season is anything to go on, is that this is very much, because it's about superheroes, it is a very fight heavy show, but it's also got a lot of charm to it. And I believe we talked about this on a previous episode, the fact that all of the characters are not just unique, but they're very, fun. And they've all got their literal quirks to them. Yeah. Even if, let's say, the animation is not as good for, the budget does not appear in certain fight scenes, it's not going to be so bad because, we're so attached to the characters themselves that we're sort of willing to forgive all of that. Speaking of anime that have really, really awesome fight scenes in it, guess which anime is celebrating its 10th anniversary?
I'll give you a hint. My drill is this one that will pierce the heavens.
Hells yeah, it is. It is Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann, one of my all-time favorites. I remember I was really, really super duper into it in high school. I remember memorizing the theme song, and goodness knows, I whenever I would feel down in the dumps, I would always watch that show to sort of, help motivate myself to do better in school or in sports or whatever. And I gotta say, it's really one of those things where, you don't feel old. It's like, oh my gosh, it came out 10 years ago. Oh, I feel so old. Like I'm not even mad though, because it was such a good show. And, I'm sort of, it's on Netflix, it was on Sci-Fi Channel, it's on Toonami. Like, I'm really, really glad that it ended up taking off as much as it did. 2007 is considered by many to be like one of the greatest years in the history of anime. And Tengen and Gurren Lagann was very much a driving force in helping to make that happen. How about you? You guys, like, I know... Gentleman Snark, you've definitely seen Gurren Lagann. How about you, Flamehawk? You've seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces. I haven't really followed the series. It's not bad from what I've seen.
It was one of the first anime I remember during when social media was really starting to take off back in 2007. And around the time that geek culture was really, really starting to become mainstreamed. Like, this was right around the time that Iron Man and The Dark Knight and Big Bang Theory and all of these shows and video games were coming out. Like, this was sort of like one of the first anime I remember achieving sort of a meme status, but in real time. Like, it was one of the first anime that really had a lot of really popular memeable moments, viral moments in the episodes that started showing up a lot on social media. And, it was sort of a forerunner to that whole idea of, everyone sort of sharing these funny little in-jokes about an anime as it's coming out. It was sort of like the Attack on Titan of its time.
I would say it's better than Attack on Titan, but...
By far.
Yeah.
Well, it certainly answers a lot of stuff as it goes along, and even then, it's sort of like, oh, what's going on? Who cares? It's awesome. Like just like scream and yell and pump your fists in the air because you're getting so hyped for what you're watching on screen.
Especially during one of the final battles, they're throwing universes at each other and whatnot. Like, what?
It's like, this is ridiculous, but I'm loving every second of it.
Yeah, it was phenomenal to look at.
Yeah.
Didn't make any sense, but it was still awesome to look at.
Oh yeah, Madhouse did an absolutely phenomenal job, and this was the show that brought us not just Evangelion but also Die Buster.
Ah yes, Die Buster. Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah, and they had a lot of references and homages to all of the shows in it.
As a matter of fact, in one of my reviews, you already know which website to check that out on, I've actually made the comparison that Die Buster is pretty much Gurren Lagann meets Kamen Rider in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
That's honestly what it was when I watched it.
Yeah, with like a little bit of Sailor Moon thrown in for good measure.
Definitely.
Now, speaking of... now, we were talking about Attack on Titan earlier. Speaking of shows that dominate Hot Topic, guess which cartoon is coming back? Oh, man.
But in all seriousness, though, the Nickelodeon show, that is definitely making a comeback with a movie. Oh, my goodness. We thought it was dead for a while. Then it revived via comic by Oni Press, and now it is coming back on TV for us to enjoy again.
Can we say thank you for not being on Cartoon Network?
Yes, thank you.
Because
oh my God.
They brought back Powerpuff Girls, they brought back Teen Titans, but
they both flopped, sort of.
Thank God.
Yeah.
Samurai Jack decided to just go with Adult Swim. Just said, see, we had a nice relationship in the past, but I kind of got to move on. I've grown up and decided to go with Adult Swim.
We're not going back to that past. But with this show that we are about to talk about, which we haven't revealed yet, there is, I believe, a good amount of hope that it will maintain its former glory. And that show is Invader Zim.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. I remember back in high school, so many, hot emo girls, like all you had to do is just say, oh yeah, I watch Invader Zim, and they'd just like be all over you, man. No.
What I am curious about is what the movie's premise is going to be, because I heard that years back, before Invader Zim was canceled, there was already a plan for an Invader Zim movie, except it featured Zim's main rival, Dib, was going to Urk to possibly conquer it. I'm not entirely sure, but it's been a while. But I've definitely read that there was that old movie idea of having Dib travel to Urk and probably attempts to conquer it there. So I'm wondering with this movie, are they going to try to revive that idea? Because again, when I read it, it was an interesting concept for what it was. I was not sure how they pull it off, but it would be a very interesting concept. Are they going to bring that back, or are they going to scrap it for something entirely new?
Well, I think they might go with that because the three episodes I remember, like two-parter episodes. There was one where it was the Battle of the Planets, where the two planets are spaceships.
Yeah,
and
that
then
was funny.
They're all.
That was funny.
I feel like Invader Zim is like a really edgy SpongeBob, in that you can just quote it all day. They're all flashing before my eyes now. It's very nostalgia, but at the same time, it brings back a lot of moments in middle school and high school that I'd like to regret. But back on subject, and then there was also the one with Attack, the girl Urkin.
Oh yes, female Urk.
And then there was the Christmas episode. Or no, there was also a Halloween episode, wasn't there?
Yeah, yes there was. I believe so.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that for this movie, they're probably going to go with that idea that you had, because I know that they're going with all of the original voice actors.
Well, that is nice to hear. They won't have to swap out any of them with different voice actress like another show that came back, Shaolin Chronicles, We're Looking at You. But yeah, I really do want to see Invader Zim. I hope Nickelodeon doesn't do a Powerpuff Girls or Teen Titans Go thing. They stick to the source.
Or a Shaolin Chronicles thing.
Yeah, no, just I could have an entire video on where they went wrong with that, but now's not the time or place. Point is, Invader Zim, if they can stick to the source, which I think they will, because why else would they bring back the material? It's because it still has to be gaining popularity, because again, this died as a TV show, but then came back as a comic. So definitely the fact that it came back as a comic and going back on TV definitely means that there's a lot of people who still love the series for what it originally was. So I don't think they're going to do any creative freedoms or, for the love of God, turn like Zim into a good guy. Though I did hear that the original creator did have the idea that in the original show to turn Zim from a bad guy to a hero, which I don't know how that was ever going to work. I would have loved to see the transition as a joke, but yeah.
It would probably be one of the things where the invader comes to know Earth and just be like, I can't destroy you or take over you. I love you. Be one of the
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Have you ever seen Invader Zim?
I have.
If he does, it would probably
it's
be
the common trope.
If he does, it would probably be something like really, really silly. Like he tries some snack food and becomes obsessed with it and be like, oh, well, now I just found a reason not to conquer Earth because otherwise we wouldn't have this delicious snack food or something like that. Or maybe
now that sounds more like Zim.
Yeah.
That sounds like Beerus.
Yes. Who?
Beerus. Lord Beerus.
Dragon Ball Super reference.
Oh, yes. And I'm curious as to how all of the other characters, because the thing about Invader Zim is that it has a lot of recurring characters from, you got the humans like Gaz and Professor Dib's dad, and that scary teacher lady.
I think she's an alien, though. For some reason, I just have this feeling that either she's really creepy or an alien. I'm going to go with alien.
We have those here. We have those kind of professors here. We just think they're aliens. I mean, our station advisor, you just kind of think he's an alien sometimes.
Isn't that a famous book, like My Fifth Grade Teacher is an Alien? And it had like, yeah.
Yep.
I remember that book.
Yeah,
That should be
me
a movie.
Too. Now, speaking of Western media, the Judas contract, Teen Titans, came out Tuesday, and
You guys watched it.
it is good.
Yeah, it's a pretty good.
Explain to the audience what the Judas contract is.
Well, to put it simply, Brother Blood and apparently the Hive, and no, not the Hive Academy from the Teen Titans show, the original. It's Brother Blood and his Hive. It's more like they are a religious
cult.
Religious cult nowadays. And they have a contract with Slade to, or basically capture the Titans, put them up. Yeah, they have Deathstroke. Sorry, my mind's on the original cartoon. Have Deathstroke kidnap and capture all of the Titans, rig them up into a machine to give Brother Blood their power so he can ascend to godhood, because apparently he gains immortality by literally bathing in the blood of his enemies. So with the power of immortality, he's going to find a way to make a machine to steal the powers from the Teen Titans and make it his own so he can achieve godhood, or so he calls it. Though if he really wanted to achieve godhood, he probably should just bump the Titans and find a way to get Superman. Then he would have gotten godhood.
The thing about this film is it has a lot of sexual jokes and innuendos.
Oh my god.
Like,
yep.
I'm usually a fan of these, but when you do them too much, it just really hurts.
Okay. To be fair, I was with it until we got to the terror parts.
It does not.
That is when I turned off.
It does not translate well into video. It really does not.
Like I was all for the sexual innuendos, jokes, I was like saying good night everybody, to like bringing on my inner Yakko, to all of the jokes, but when the Terra and Deathstroke scenes came in, that's when I turned off. That's when it stopped being fun for me.
Just to keep in mind, Tara is 15 years old, and Deathstroke is in his 50s or so. So
Barf.
everyone has someone to love.
I
Ugh.
And the thing is, Tara was like going through like a massive teenage phase. Like
Yeah.
first being like a rebellious smart mouth, then she just put on some gaudy makeup trying to act slutty, and then at the last moment she went to straight up punk rock. Like, pick a theme, girl, and stick with it.
The best sexual joke is between Nightwing and Starfire.
Oh yeah, they were the front runners of sexual innuendos.
Especially when they were fighting. They said, do you want to do the position? And then Starfire was like, right now? What would they think? I'm like, huh.
This is kind of
Oh, and my personal favorite was when Starfire and Nightwing were sparring, and Nightwing lost, and then Starfire just said, "Oh, congrats, you lasted a bit longer this time."
they should rename themselves Teen Thoughtons, because goddamn.
Yeah, especially with Beast Boy trying desperately to get off with Tara.
Although it works.
It did, not in the way he wanted at all.
However, this film does set up the animated DC universe once again.
A lot better than the live action.
As we've seen Donna Troy, aka Wonder Girl, come into mainframe right there and join the team in the ending film.
I will say about this film that I thought was like very interesting, that I had a bit of mixed feelings. I don't know if I'm not saying it was bad what they did by any means, but if you really pay attention and if you also watch the original cartoon, you know they borrowed a lot of scenes from the original cartoon, Teen Titans, from Tara skipping rocks to her final sacrifice scene where she basically pushes Beast Boy aside and tries to bring the entire place down. They borrowed a lot of scenes from the cartoon. Now, personally, I don't know if those actually did happen in the comic. I've never read the comics. The cartoon is the main forego of what I know of the Teen Titans. So forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn here, but yeah, they really did borrow a lot of scenes there. Again, it's not bad. I don't think it's bad at all. I don't know, I just thought it was something very interesting to look at here because before the Judas contract was already in the works, was an already idea like years ago when the Teen Titans, the original show, was still like running on TV, but it was canceled for reasons I don't remember at the moment. So to see it come back, I'm wondering if this was sort of an homage, like those scenes that are based off the Teen Titans cartoon was kind of like an homage to those ideas, because I'm wondering, had it came out at that time frame, what type of setting would they have used? Like, how exactly would the story have gone down, I wonder.
The one thing to keep in mind is that there's another film coming out in the summer that features Batman and suddenly everyone's favorite character, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that anime, when I saw the trailer for that, it really did look like they're trying to play off the popularity with Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad. They're really trying to play that up.
I mean, everyone loves Harley Quinn, but they're just going overboard at this point. She's a character that should be within her limits, as she's not a main character.
Well, let's be real here. Harley Quinn is essentially the DC equivalent to Deadpool at this point.
Yeah, kinda. And you say she should stay within her limits, but I mean, we're talking about a character that started off in the animated series, then graduated into the main source material, which was the comic books here.
Well, I just mean, I've seen this online that people are saying one of the 4 pillars in the DCEU now is Harley Quinn. They're saying it's Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Harley Quinn.
In terms of selling points?
Yep, exactly. And that,
I can see
and
that.
the way they can build up on the franchise. They can't really, I mean, yes, you can kind of build up on Harley Quinn, but they should have another character like Martian Manhunter or Green Lantern, one that's better than the original Ryan Reynolds version, because
Johnny Stewart.
That one,
Or
not ready yet.
Or even Guy Gardner, or I want to maybe Kyle Rayner, maybe, but I don't know. But what I do know is that it's kind of I don't want to say it's a shame that Harley Quinn has become so popular because I did like her. Up until, like I mentioned, she basically became DC's Deadpool. I think the reason why she sells so well is because she is perfect fodder for normies, I guess. Like it's one of those things where it's like Deadpool. Guys want to pretend that they're like him because they're like, oh, lol, I'm so random, XD, that type of stuff. And we going back to Invader Zim, like there was very much like that type of sentimentality among the fans of Invader Zim, and it's sort of jumped ship to Deadpool and Harley Quinn now, and it's kind of like. How do I put it? It's like this. It's like a very cheap marketing gimmick. Like, oh, look, this character sort of exists outside of the realm of seriousness for the rest of the characters. Like, we're going to put all of our comedy and all of our cheesiness and all of our, it's sort of like a mouthpiece, so to speak, a mouthpiece for the kind of comedy that we'd like to put in, but we're just going to put it through this character. But then once that happens, then you end up in a situation where if you try to make them remotely serious, then all the fans are like, oh, this is not in the character. This is silly.
Well, it seems based on the trailer that they're definitely going to go with that kind of make the character serious, because Harley Quinn is apparently out of Arkham Asylum or whatnot, and she says to Bats that she's done with the whole capes and mask life and she just wants to live a normal life. Now, obviously, we all know that is complete BS, but...
Yeah, they tried to do the same thing with Baby Doll, or they try to do the same thing with Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
And they just always like, well, turns out I actually have reason to commit crimes again.
Well, if there's any real benefit to this, they have the original voice actors like Kevin Conroy voicing Batman, along with the original voice actor Harley Quinn, which I cannot remember off the top of my head. So that's nice to see. At least in that case, we get a bit of a nostalgia trip, but I'm not going to say it's bad, but to be truthfully honest, after Batman the Killing Joke, I am very hesitant to really deal with any type of Batman animated movie series right now, because the Killing Joke was just
very disappointing.
To put a pun on words, a very bad joke.
Yeah, I feel like, and you know what, this might be a very unpopular opinion, but if they decide, you know what, Kevin Conroy, Mark Hamill, all of them, they are retiring, I wouldn't even really be that mad. I keep hearing like, oh, look, we got Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill to do it. It's like, well, yeah, but you didn't give them good lines.
Exactly. Like, there's been other animated series with Batman who have not been voiced by Kevin Conroy that have been a lot better.
Like Under the Red Hood.
Exactly. Unfortunately, they've been better than actual movies with Kevin Conroy. Like, come on. So it just kind of shows more to this just being kind of a cash grab and a gimmick to get people's attention.
Now, this just released online. We have the Inhuman synopsis, and it looks like they won't actually show Attilan itself. They say, after the royal family of the Inhumans is splintered by a military coup, they barely escape Hawaii, where their surprising interactions with the lush world and humanity around them may prove not to only save them, but Earth itself. That sounds...
Wait, they're going to Hawaii?
Exactly. I don't know why they would. Maybe that's their...
Hawaii, they would.
So, Hawaii 5-0? Superhero edition?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, everyone wanted to see Attilan, but guess not. Thank you, Marvel.
Okay. This might... I feel like this is not good for the following reason. I have been of I've been combing through the different forums and chat rooms and stuff, and I've seen a lot of people hoping that Thor Ragnarok sets up for I forget who authored it, but remember when Asgard was like floating in the Midwest? And like that was a really good run. But now I'm looking at this and I'm like, oh, they're just going to decide, oh, the Inhumans are now going to live in Hawaii, or like when the X-Men were living in Genosha. And then they're just sort of going to like be like, oh, well, we've got the Inhumans in Hawaii, so we don't want to repeat it with all of these other really, really good stories with this potentially, meh one.
Exactly. The one thing about the Inhumans is that their base is kind of critical to their overall plot.
Now, because Marvel does not own the X-Men rights yet, could we expect the Inhumans to basically be treated like the MCU's equivalent to X-Men?
If they were, I would see them in getting a movie, but since they're not getting a movie, technically they are, but since they're not getting a full feature action film, they will probably not be the equivalent of X-Men that many people are thinking they would. They'll serve a similar role, but they won't be given the spotlight many people thought they were by replacing the X-Men entirely.
Like, this is going to be the superhero team that the general population is like, oh, we don't feel comfortable with these like weird people around. Like, we don't really feel comfortable, with them. But oh, Avengers, oh hey, yeah, they're cool.
Exactly. It's like, oh, they got their powers from the Kree. We don't want that. Although it is interesting since we did get the Kree in the Guardians of the Galaxy with Ronan. It'd be interesting to see if they make any connection with their history, but they probably will in a little bit, but probably not in a full, fleshed out backstory.
Yeah, what's the name of the girl from Guardians of the Galaxy?
Gamora?
No, the bald one.
Nebula?
We'd probably see more Nebula because we know that she's going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 2. So I'm guessing that we're probably going to see her a lot. Like, I don't think she's going to die in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which is like, but hey, it's in a couple of weeks, so who knows?
Exactly.
But I have a feeling like, and because she was a TV actress, the woman playing her, she was on Doctor Who for a long time, I don't expect her to just like be stuck on in movies from now on. Like, she's probably going to end up going to the TV show now if they are going to work the Kree into that storyline.
So that's it for us on this week's episode of East Meets West. Thank you for listening, and if you want to catch any of our other material, go to nerdent.net.
We do a whole bunch of reviews from anime, comic books, light novels, video games, television shows. Be sure to check us out if you want to check out all of those awesome reviews. We are also available on Twitter, that is @MeetsWest.
And feel free, if you wish to contribute articles to the website, feel free to use that contact info, and we will do our best to try and find a spot for you. Tell us what it is that you like to write about, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, so
Until next time, stay classy.
see ya.
See ya.